Hello, me. Meet the real me and my misfits way of life. Oh, wait a minute. No, that's the wrong video. Okay, so I had a coworker today approach me about a little project he's working on. He's getting back into being a ham, and he wanted me to tune up, do a little mod on his radio. This is a Yaesu, I think that's how you pronounce it. Model number ft-857. And this little tune-up I'm doing on his radio, I believe, is called the MARS mod. We'll see how that goes. I'll go ahead and pull this radio apart, and we'll take a little look at the guts, maybe poke around a little bit, and I'll do a little solder and make the mod, show everybody what I did here. Yeah. Let's go ahead and kind of zoom in on this board. And unfortunately we can't see all the magic. There's some filtering and some other stuff that happens underneath this board. I don't want to tear it completely apart. It's not mine. But looks like we have some amplifier section, a little micro of some sort. What is that? Oh, there's my head in the frame. F something or other. I have no clue what that is. We do have tunable inductors. These are all probably filters. We have either another filter or a crystal of some sort for frequency. All the RF magic is probably happening in here. Probably mixing stage or some such. Mixing from high frequency down to a lower frequency. Same in this can. I'm not an RF engineer. Looks like a regulator to me, using probably this case here is a heat sink, big heat sink. I guess this thing outputs 50 watts of juice, which is, you know, quite a bit when you're talking at about 13.8 volts or something similar. Seems to be a lot of radio gears 13.8 volts, and that's because cars and trucks, you know, when your alternator's running, you're charging at 13.8. Anyways, that's something for another day. This mod that we're going to do has to do with these tiny jumpers over here. Now, let's go ahead and zoom in even more. Oh, I have no more zoom. I can do some digital zoom, I think. Nope, no digital zoom? Oh well. Anyways, let's go back here and maybe I'll do some high-res pictures. I don't know, we'll see. Now, in order to do a decent job soldering, you should have the proper tools. A high-quality soldering iron. Mine is medium quality. It's an old Radio Shack, but it's just a relabeled somebody else, and it's actually a pretty darn good one. It was made before Radio Shack all went to crap. It's a knockoff of a Heiko, from what I understand. All the Heiko parts fit, so I'm assuming it's a knockoff Heiko. It's probably actually built by Heiko, just re-stickered Radio Shack. You'll need some tip tinner and cleaner. Boom, store that in the center of the frame. That stuff cleans and conditions the tip of your soldering iron. Very important, so you get good wetting and good thermal transfer between the three surfaces involved. Surface 1, surface 2, and the joint. A sponge or wool, metal wool of some sort. Copper and brass, in my opinion, is the best. Yeah, there's that. And then you need yourself some flux. I get this stuff from my old man. He gets it for his board repair business by the gallon. This stuff, from what I understand, is extremely toxic, and it smells to holy hell when you're burning this stuff. So please use adequate ventilation, especially when you're using leaded solder. Oh, come on, focus. You'll focus, camera. There we go. Okay. SN, PB, 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 plumb bob. Oh, plumb bob, plumbing, lead. Ah, that's where the lead is. 40% lead, 60% tin. Size is important. You want something relatively small, but not hair thin. Anyways, I get the cheap stuff. As long as it's got lead, it seems to work pretty darn well. I've never been able to solder with lead-free solder. Anyways, moving on. Scooch all that stuff out of the way. Right in the center of that frame, you will see a little row of dots. Right about there. Those are the jumpers we're going to be soldering to change the option firmware, I guess. The hardware ID, so the firmware gets extra goodies. We're going to be extending the frequency range into the MARS, whatever MARS is. It's a ham thing for people who do, I don't know what. Yeah, we're hacking this radio, doing a modification, give it some extra frequency bands. And my buddy, who is getting to be a ham again, would like to be able to operate on these frequencies. I assume the legality of it is all kosher. I did check and do a little bit of Googling briefly before I agreed to do this. And it's a civilian ban for helping the local governments in case of emergencies, something like that. And it all appears to be legal as long as he's a licensed ham. So, if we take a quick peek over here, we'll identify some components, and yeah, we'll just do a quick once over the board. Back here, we have some very large radio frequency connectors, UHF. I do believe that looks like a small amplifier here, maybe a voltage regulator. We have a bunch of filtering caps. We have another, is that a cap? Yep, another cap, and what looks to be a 5-pin device. So that could be voltage regulator with some smarts in it, or it could be an amplifier. My bet is on amplifier right now. Looks like we have 2 optional filters, which are apparently not installed. Maybe I should talk to him about maybe plugging them in, get some increased performance and noise handling capabilities. Underneath here are the RF cans. I'm not going to take those apart. I don't want to break my buddy's radio. Over here, all of those things that look like little square cans with little holes, those are actually inductors. Probably used for filtering or matching impedance or something like that. And yeah, this is a many layer board. It looks like it's a pretty high quality board. It looks like that's actually gold flashing on there for very good soldering when they go to send this through the SMT flow or I can't talk today. Anyways, when they solder the board together, yes, they pick and place machine pokes everything down. They send it through an oven with some solder, and poof, there we go. Magic happens. A couple of big fans for cooling. So there's got to be some power dissipation in this thing. I mean, this whole chassis is basically a heat sink. Yeah, what else we got here? Looks like some sort of communications to the front, and there's probably a smart controller in there, microcontroller that does all the handling of the band selection and whatnot. The underside doesn't look like it's that interesting, so yeah, it's I'm gonna go ahead and give it a whirl on soldering. Having completed the mod, if we have that area with those jumpers, I went ahead and soldered well, some solder over there to make those joints happen and have good continuity, and that's ready to button her up, send it back home. Have a good day, buddy. I know it's a little bit short, didn't go into that deep a detail, and I really couldn't get a good camera angle and a good angle to get the soldering iron there. So maybe I'll do another soldering tutorial later. I think everybody and their brother's done one, and y'all probably don't want to see my crappy soldering. So, y'all have a good evening.